Hi everybody, how y'all doing today? I am coming back with you with some tech news today. A lot of people are curious when the new Intel Rocket Lake CPUs are coming out. Now it says quarter one, which is the first quarter. Everybody know first quarter is every 3 months. So since I say every 3 months, that means that the new CPUs by Intel are coming out by the end of March. Yes. And we should be excited because we've been waiting for something new from Intel quite some time now. Now, everybody wants to know. Everybody getting some latest information about benchmarks and stuff. I'm gonna get right into that with you as soon because when I heard that the the i7 11 700K was faster than the Ryzen 9 5950X. I was curious, but I'm gonna get back into the next segment. But right now, let's go ahead and talk about the introduction of the Intel Rocket Lake CPUs. All right, and Gigabyte Intel Rocket Lake desktop CPUs will arrive in March. Gigabyte also said owners of its Z490 boards that features the PCIe 4.0 interface will be running the Rocket Lake CPUs following an update to the motherboard BIOS. Alright, now when that BIOS come out, you could go ahead and install it. And if you're still on the LGA 1200, you'll be pushing that until the LGA 1700s be coming out in late March as well. Those are the new 500 series motherboards on that. Now let's get right into it. Motherboard vendors Gigabyte say that its customers are expecting Intel Rocket Lake desktop CPUs to arrive in March. The vendor made an announcement in the press release discussing how existing Z490 Gigabyte motherboards that use PCIe Express 4.0 will support the upcoming CPUs. The latest 11th gen Intel Core processor will be launched on March 2021, the statement says. Now, that is good. So now, if you still own the Z490 Intel LGA 1200, you are good to go. Now, here's the thing. When the new motherboard come out, do you upgrade? Question number 2. Is the price going to be competitive for our wallets? That means it's going to be more affordable, so we go ahead and buy the product and enjoy it. 3. Do I need to upgrade from the LGA 1200 soon? Then I think I should. Or should I just keep rocking my LGA 1200 and then on my Z490 model and just enjoy the new chipset that supports that motherboard? Or do I upgrade my motherboard and support the new DDR5 as well as the PCIe 5.0? Now, official Intel has only said that Intel Generation Rocket Lake chipset will launch sometimes during the first quarter. Naturally, PC builders hope it will be sooner rather than later. Okay, all my little tech maniacs out there, they want it faster. They want it now, and then rush in a hurry to get it. Now, we know a lot of people might be on the LGA 1151 300 series. Now, if you own those, and if you own the i7 8700 or the i9 9900K, then you good to go because we know how much those CPUs, how much the processor cores and threads pushes. But if you want to upgrade, that's up to you. Now, only thing you have to probably buy is the CPU, motherboard, RAM, and maybe a new power supply, or you still keep rocking the same. We won't know until the end of March. Now, Gigabyte went to say on the owners of the Z490 motherboard with the PCIe 4.0 will be able to run the Rocket Lake CPU Following an update to the motherboard BIOS, Gigabyte R&D team is speeding up on the verification of more Z490 motherboards for a full-fledged support to the 11th gen Intel C core processors. The company says that the BIOS update files will be uploaded to the Gigabyte official website, so please check it out regularly. Now, as I was saying, they're working on the BIOS. There are a benchmark saying that the 11700K is faster than the Ryzen 5950X. A whole lot of speculations are going on, but the main thing they need to mention, and I'm curious, is what is the price? Is the price going to be competitive, or is the price just going to be mediocre and it's going to push us away from the product, and then we still keep dumping our Ryzen's CPUs? Yes, still keep pushing the Ryzen because Intel marketing team fails to make stuff compatible and competitive with their leading architects that's out there on the price availability that's going to be comfortable for our pockets. Now, the question is, which should you buy? The i5, the i7? That's up to you. That's up to really basically the consumers, really. It's up to us. Which one you want to support? That's the question. Now, right now, ain't nothing been said right now. Everything been hush-hush. But they're trying to go ahead and work on everything so they could go ahead and get everything in line of the release date. So they won't worry about stuff running out. And, of course, we know that we got the scalpers going to be waiting in line to get their hands on it, too. So, but you got to pay close attention to it in the stores. And, guys, once you see one person buy more than one product, then they scalp it, and that needs to be reported immediately to the store manager. Say, hey, one per customer. Now, I will be back with you with segment 2 of this wonderful Intel 11 gen launch. So y'all go ahead on and stand by after this short brief segment. Alright everybody, we are back from our little short brief segment. Now, on to topic number 2. It states that Intel say the 11700K is faster than the Ryzen 5950X. Alrighty, this was posted on December 28, 2020. This was last year. So, this is the thing. Y'all gonna be very shocked and surprised when I put this information out. Now, Intel Core i7 11700K Rocket Lake CPU outperforms AMD Ryzen 9 5950X in a single core test. Intel Rocket Lake S platform is scheduled to arrive at the beginning of the following year, which will be released in March. Sometime in March, we don't know when, but in March. Alrighty, which is a few days away. Yes, a few months away. The Rocket Lake lineup of processors is going to be the Intel 11th generation of core desktop CPUs, and other platform is expected to make a debut with an Intel newest Cypress Cove core design. Thanks to Geekbench 5 submission. Okay, y'all hear that? Thanks to Geekbench 5 submission, we have the latest information about the performance of the upcoming Intel Core i7 11700K 8-core 16-thread processor based on a Cypress Cove core. The CPU is alleged bringing a double-digit IPC increase, according to Intel. Okay, new CPU cores architect with IPC improvements. New enhancement Intel UHD graphic features which comes with the integrated XE graphic architect 2, up to 20 CPU PCIe 4.0 lanes, new overclocking features and capabilities, new Intel Deep Learning Boost, VNNI support, new integrated USB 3.0 Gen 2x2 20G, new Intel 500 series chipsets. Yes, as I mentioned, along with that, they're going to go ahead and release the new boards, which will be the LGA 1700 500 series on the new lines for the new line Intel 11 Gen CPUs that's going to be hitting the market in March. Now everybody got to ask themselves, do I upgrade? Now to the new users, you have a choice to use the LGA 1200, which is the Intel 10th generation CPUs, or you could go ahead on and push up to the LGA 1700, which is going to support the new Intel 11th generation CPUs. What do y'all do? Now, if you're an old user who already got the Z490 boards rocking the Intel 10th generation and happy with what they have, then it's like I said in my previous videos, if your system's not broken, why fix it? Now, if you want to fix it, that's up to you. You already got your case, you already got your power supply, you already got your graphic card, whether it's the 3090, RTX 3080, or the RTX 3070, the RTX 3060, 12 gigabyte. It's not out yet until the end of February, but then you got the RTX 3060. Now, for people like me, I'm still waiting. But now, since you got a new graphic card coming out now, let me see if I can get my hands on one. So now, the question is, as it's stated, with the new IPC improvements and etc., is it faster than Ryzen 9 5950X CPU? Now, that's the question we would like to see. And I can't be waiting, because right now I'm going to be waiting on Steve from Gamer Nexus to dissect the new Intel 11700K 11th generation processors. I know he's going to go ahead and run the stress test. He's going to go ahead and stress it out where it's going to go to this max boost frequency. He's going to go ahead and do a regular test, whether it's on this single core base where there's no stretches, run at regular performance, and how fast it opens up the programs, etc., etc. Is this chipset good for gaming? We don't know, but we know AMD's 5000 series are, because it has SAM, small access RAM memory, which access the PCIe lanes to crank out more power from the GPU. Is the new Intel 11 generation is going to do that though? That's the question we like to know. So now, it's saying the single core result, the CPU has managed a score of 1807 points, while the monthly score is 10,673 points. The CPU ran a base clock of 3.6, while the boost frequency is fixed at 5 gigahertz. That's what I'm talking about. Now, here's the test chart. Now, as you see right here is a problem. You did a test chart using the Z490 Aros Master. Now, in the first segment, I said that they was working on the BIOS update for the CPU. So my question is, how did they run this test if they don't have the BIOS out yet? And speaking of that, I'm gonna go ahead and show you that in the glimpse quickness. Now, here is the Z490 Aros Master reversion 1.x. That means 1.0. Now it might be a 1.1 or a 2.0. Who knows? But if the BIOS was out, you will see the new 11. Even though the chipset's not out yet, but we know it's coming out in March, the BIOS should be already rolled out on the motherboards. So my question is, how y'all testing this here? If y'all still working on the BIOS to make sure there's no complication with the upgrade, so the chipset can boot properly. That's the question. Now, back to the chart test. Now, we are on a i7 11700K 8-core 16-thread base clock at 3.6 gigahertz with a 5.0 good gigahertz boost, with the boost clock on all cores at 4.6 gigahertz at catch at 16 megabytes on the Intel Xe32EU 256 cores with a TDP of 125 watts. Now, here is the specs of the Ryzen 9 5950X. 16 cores and 32 threads. Now you tell me, how in the hell an 8-core 16-thread processor outperforms a 16-core 32-thread processor? Now they beat them on the base clock and the boost by 1, but their boost was at 3.6, so you got them by 2 gigahertz, and you got about 1 gigahertz on the boost. Now the L2 catches at 8 megabytes. Wow. Y'all catches at 16 megabytes. Okay, now it's on the TCMS 7 nanometers. This chipset is on a 14 nanometers. The lane is still the same, but the TDP is at 105, and y'all TDP on Intel is at 125, so you got about 25 more watts. Okay, but we all know how the Ryzen 9 5950 perform under stress, and it performs damn good. So this is my thing. I am not taking sides. I am not playing sides here. Okay, Intel, it is great that y'all coming up with y'all processor, but let's be for real. We don't know how this thing performs under stress. And you know you got a lot of extreme gamers out there that is ready to put this baby to the test and how good it games. And we all know those extreme gamers is going to go ahead on and rip this 11 generation 11700K CPU apart. They want to put this baby through all tests that it never been through. So we can't wait and see. Now, the marketing side, how much is it going to be? That's what y'all should have said. Nobody knows. They sit down here, they thinking the i9. They thinking the i9 8-core 16-thread processor is going to be a little higher, between $399 to $499. Same thing with the i7 11700K, is about the same price as well too. I'm thinking it's going to be between about $299 to about $399. Okay, now you got your babies down here, which is your i5s processors, the 6 cores and the 12 threads. Now the baby processor should go ahead on and start at $199. That's the 11400T. But we won't see that there soon, so we're gonna go ahead and see the i5 11400. Now, this the processor here. I'm thinking, and this is the beginner's processor. This is for people. I mean, it's gonna hit this mark level in 1440 at 4K resolution. All depends on the all depends on the graphic card you put in there. Now, that's the thing we need to see. How would this chipset perform using the RX 6000 series and the RTX 30 series? And then they supposedly have an individual graphic card, the Intel Xe graphic card, And then you got the onboard chipset. How well is this going to perform under 1440p? That's the question we would like to know. So Intel, I hope that when this chipset comes out, that it's not going to be as disappointing. I want it to be exciting as y'all talking about it, because y'all got me and a whole lot of Intel users revved up. Now, I use both boards, Intel and AMD's, because why? Because they put out, it's a great product. Marketing size, a lot of people go ahead on and point out the issues that Intel marketing have, but the main thing recently that they changed CEOs. One of the CEOs has finally stepped down and retired, so there's another CEO stepping up. So we're going to see how they're going to go ahead on, how he is going to implement the new changes with the marketing team, et cetera, with the development of the new chip lines and stuff coming up, and et cetera. So I'm excited to see what's going on with that starting this year. Now, that's the thing there I had to bring out. And as you see, I had to bring out as well as the Z490 Hours Master. There is no update. So I like to know how they testing this chip out. They might have the update running everything, et cetera, but still, when you did, I'm going to let them know when you do a comparison, especially a benchmark, please, and understand that next to this here should have been the Ryzen 9 5900X on Geekbench 5 score. Now, that's another thing I hope that Steve from Gamer Nexus go ahead on and bring out. I would like to go ahead and see him dissect this is chipset, show us the load of this chip. Is it a good CPU or is it just a mediocre? That's the thing that all Intel's platformers wants to see. If this is good, do I need to upgrade? Or if it's not a good chip, do I need to go ahead and stay on the 10th gen? Now, I'm gonna come back with you with the last segment of this of the Intel news. So y'all go ahead and stand by after this brief segment. Alrighty, and we are back from our brief break. One more thing I want to point out of the i7-11700 being faster than the Ryzen 9 5950X. Now, it's stated that on a single boost, which scores 1349 on a single core, score and 8,973 points multi-core score, the Rocket Lake CPU has managed to put out 34% higher single cores and 19% higher multi-cores when it comes to a comparison of AMD offering the highest in Ryzen 9 5950X is about 7.5% slower in single core results, and of course much faster in multi-core results than a double the number of cores. Alright, now we know that, and this is one thing that I want Intel and AMD to stop doing. Stop battling each other. I know it's been going on for so long, but come on. Both of you guys puts out the best and dynamic CPUs on the market. Now, with our manufactured motherboards, they put out the best and dynamic motherboards to handle this power from the CPUs that y'all are putting out in today's tech world. Go along with the graphic cards. NVIDIA and AMD, stop it. We know who hold it down. NVIDIA put out the best gaming cards, AMD put out the best gaming cards. So now, just like I said, it's all about your platform. What you, the consumer, like to use. What you, the consumer, want their PC to do. How they want their PC to perform. how well they want it to perform under stress loads. That's up to us consumers. So this is one reason why I go ahead on and tell enjoy what you do. Enjoy your platform, enjoy your PC. If you build it yourself, enjoy putting it together because it's your system. You designing your system how you want it. So when these new Intel 11th generation motherboards and chipset comes out, it's up to us. Should I upgrade to the new? As a new gamer, new PC builder, you should have no issue. You got options. Narrow down your best option. That's it. That's all I have to say. What is your best option? Just like my best option now is waiting on the RTX 3060 12GB graphic card to go along with my Ryzen 5 3600 editing rig. And when I put that card in, it's going to be my editing and my gaming rig, just like my FM2 4 cores 4 thread on the GeForce GTX 1060 3GB. And I tell you, my gaming system plays the hell of 1080p gaming at its best. It's also streams at its best. And I do a lot of editing at its best. So I got two base monsters pushing. And I love it. Now, let's go ahead on into the final and last segment of this video, which is to all my 1151 users. Intel is discontinuing the 300 series chipset motherboard. Yes. Over the eve, the new motherboard, the 500 series chipset, it has been announced. It's taken over. And that is the end of the 1151s. So, if you're still rocking the 1151s, if you still want to go ahead on it and go ahead on and walk the Intel i7 8700 and 8700K, as well as the i9 9900K, go ahead on and rock it. It's up to you if you want to upgrade to the 10 gen, the LGA 1200 motherboards, or the new boards coming out, the LGA 1700 motherboard, which they're going to be on the 500 series chipsets. See, now new PC builders and new gamers coming to the market have more options to choose from. You got your AMD 5000 series that's still holding down. You got your NVIDIA 30 series. You got your AMD RX 6000 series. I mean, you got a whole lot to choose from. Now, with the Intel 11 gen coming out, and then on the XE2 onboard APU chipset, GPU, can that onboard chipset play 1080p game and 4K game at 1440p on a good gaming level? Now, getting right on to the discontinuation of the 300 series chipset. Motherboards including the H310, the H370, the Z370, and the Z390. Production will end this July, while sales of the motherboards, including motherboard chipset, such as the QM370, will halt in January 2022. Now, I am kind of disappointed in that because these motherboards still can't be used. Now, I want to go ahead and discontinue the updates and etc. etc. Now they're going to stop using the chipset. Yes, so the 1151 after July will not be sold anymore. So whatever production line they got out, they're gonna go ahead on and just go ahead and get rid of them. Now, if you still want to buy the board, you're gonna have to possibly buy the board on eBay. Maybe New Egg, Micro Center might still have them on the shelves. That's up to them. But after that, it will be over for the 1151, which everybody enjoyed for so long. Now, my understanding that they was rushing out chipset. Yes, of course, that's what Intel was doing without thinking. Oh, we got throw this chipset out, throw this chipset out, throw this chipset out. But some of the chipsets thrown out was not really meant to be game on. Some of them just probably really meant to just go ahead and use it as entertainment use, such as streaming Hulu and Netflix and playing Spotify on it, or just probably using it as just a mid-range editing streaming rig. That's about basically it. But if you own the i7 8700K and the 8700 or the i9 9900 or the 9900K, those was meant to go ahead and do multitasking. So Intel is slowly to pull the curtain down on this production line when replacements are waiting in the wings. Last month, the company discontinued the entire 9th gen Coffee Lake refresh line, including the still excellent Core i9 9900K. Yes, and I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know this. A lot of people, I'm going to say on a percentage level, about 75 to 85% of people still have their Core i9 9900K LGA 1151 300 series, and is still gaming at its best. And its predecessor, the 8th gen Coffee Lake CPU, were discontinued in June 2020. Wow. The announcement came just before the start of the CES 2021 next week, which that we all know that's road, and I thought that event was very great as well. So if we didn't really watch that CES 2021 event, y'all can go on YouTube and watch it. Y'all check it out, and y'all can enjoy what new lines they got coming out this year. Where Intel will likely reveal the new 500 series motherboard. So if you watch that last one, and I'm going to watch it, they revealed the new 500 series. So these features on LGA 1200, so both the 10th gen Comet Lake S and upcoming 11th gen Rocket Lake S chipset are supported. Now I'm gonna go ahead on and load up the forecast milestone. Now product discontinuance program support begins January 4th, 2021, which was this month. Product discontinued demand to local Intel representatives, which will end 11/9, 2021. So that's about 90 something days down the line, like 3 months and a half down the line. The last corporate assurance product critical date is July 12th, 2021. That's coming up in 6 months. Last product discontinued order date. That means there will be no more orders signed out to retail stores. Where ends whatever last order they got on their list, the last order they get all the orders fulfilled and out. The last order date will be July 23rd, 2021. Orders are non-cancelable and non-returnable after July 23rd, 2021. Last product discontinued shipment date is January 28th, 2022. So all shipments that was, and you just hearing this news and you want to start shipping the product, you got that until the end of the year of 2020 of 2022 of January 28. So, and keep in mind that you will not receive any non-cancelable or non-returnable after. So this is it. They finna cut the 1151. Now I was getting kind of used to that because most of my my build list, I included the eighth generations and the ninth generations off the 300 series into some. I know those are still good gaming chips, and the core levels are great, so you cannot go wrong with that. Now, when the 500 series motherboards, Intel will finally be catching up to its rival AMD by offering support to the PCIe 4.0 interface. Team Blue needs to close a tech gap on this rival, according to benchmark giant Passmark software. AMD just surpassed Intel when it comes to global desktops CPU marketing shares for the first time in 15 years. Yes, Team Red is happy. Why? Because of they surpassed Intel. This is why Intel was just laying low, letting AMD do their thing. So now, with these new chipsets coming out, the 11th gen, how they gonna perform? And this is, as a tech consumer like me, would love to see. I am waiting to see, because if everything performs well, I might just go ahead and buy me a new board and replace my AMD with an Intel. I have an AMD Ryzen 5 3600, and I have an Intel 11 gen. Now y'all know I'm gonna be pushing the 6 cores, 12 threads. Is gonna be that i5. Y'all know me, yes sir. So it appears that LGA 1200 is set to last for just 2 generations. The largest 12th generation Alder Lake S chipset will use the 10 nanometers. Big Small Architect will use the new CPUs called, here it go, y'all hear that? I'm finna holler. We'll use the new CPUs called LGA 1700, forcing users to upgrade their hardware again. Now this is what I'm talking about. You're on the 1200. That's what I'm talking about. I might go ahead and get the 1200 myself. Because when I did some builds and I found out this chipset is good to use, I mean, if I get the i5 10 gen on the 6 core 12 threads, I can go ahead on and push it with the same boost and base clock. Go ahead on and crank out the 32 gigabyte of RAM at DDR32 megahertz speed. We all good to go. Now, one bit of good news is that the price of the Coffee Lake refresh chips are falling. The Core i9 9900K is available on Amazon at $367, while Micro Center has the Intel Core i5 9600K for just $170. Now, this is what I'm talking about, and this is one reason why in my PC build list I went back to Newegg. Now, only thing I'm disappointed in Newegg is the GPUs. For some reason, there's a shortage of GPUs, and the inflation of the prices, which is ridiculous. But when it comes down to finding good parts, then you at a basic reasonable retail price, it's good to go to your local retail stores that supports good deals. Because some of Amazon sellers are basically the scalpers, because this is overpriced. Now this here should be, you get the i9 9900K is available on Amazon for $367. I say that should be available for $297 because of the new CPUs coming out 11 gen, and you got your 10 gen. The prices should have been jumped when the 10 gen was out. So that's the thing that bothers me right there. So enough said. Intel, we are glad that you came back on the market. You did, and then I love the respect factor of Intel, where they did not allow. Well, let me go ahead and correct that. I love Intel for one reason. Why? Because they did not interrupt AMD launch release. They just said, okay, AMD got it right now. Let them do their thing. Now, is based upon the new CEO and the whole production team of Intel and the marketing team. That's what I said, the whole entire production team. What are y'all gonna do for 2021? And I heard that they have a GPU that's supposed to be coming out, not the APUs, a GPU. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that as well. Or y'all just go ahead and release the XE as an APU using onboard graphics. See, this is very interesting here, because now you got options now. Then now you got to figure out what you want to do. Because the 11 GA 1200 is going to go ahead and hold it down for at least 2 generations. As the LGA 1700 is going to go ahead and just take over. Now, here's the thing. And this is one reason why Team Red just now they laying low. Because now they've been coming out with a heavy CPU, Zen 4, which is going to be on 5 nanometers. And Intel's is basically on about 10 nanometers. So the new Rocket Lakes CPUs that's gonna come out. So now, and then now, the new lines of the AM5 motherboards when they hit the scene. So we already know we're on AMD 500 series, the B550s and the X570s. So now, I'm thinking that when these new AM5 motherboards hit out, it's going to support the Zen 4 processors. We're looking at a new chipset series, which is going to be AMD 600 series. So now, you just got to wait and see what's going down. I'm glad y'all like this video. Go ahead on. I thank y'all for watching. I give truly thanks to my subscribers who will enjoy watching this video. So I want to go ahead and say thank you. I love you. Y'all take care. Y'all have a great day. And peace.